In this lesson, we're going to extrude up the side of the car. Alright, so we went ahead and we finished out all of our details. We even talked about how we're going to smooth this. We've pushed in some of our elements for the door, so that way we get this nice shape of our door. A couple of things that I would want to do next is go ahead and finish out the door itself. We want to go ahead and extrude that up, starting to get the shape up to the bottom edge of our door. So let's go to edge mode, and you can see here that whenever we have show end result and we have that turbo smooth on, it's showing us this subdivision cage. So if we go to our subdivision surface, you can see show cage is turned on. I like to go ahead and change its color to something like a light blue color, and then change my selection color to red, as it's just much easier to see. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll double click on this edge, and it's going to go all the way through. And let me deselect that edge and this one. Hold down Alt to do that. And then I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to select these edges right here, and we're going to do that all the way across the top here, just like that. And then we're going to hold Shift, we're going to drag that straight up, and we're going to drag that up until it's right above the top of these squares here. And then we're going to hold Shift again, we're going to drag that up again, and then we'll do it one more time, and we'll go right up to there. Now at this point, what we would have to do is we would come in and we would start to modify the position of our vertices. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to the seams of my car. So I'm going to grab these edges. Let's make sure that we have our edge constraints turned on for right now. And let's pull that over until it meets the edge of our car. Now I'm looking at the blue line, not looking at the white line right now. Okay, so just the blue line at this point. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and pull this up to where that's meeting. Here you'll have to actually turn your constraints off. So we'll pull that up, and then we'll pull this up here. And again, looking at the blue line, pull that down to here, and then this one down. And then I modify the vertices that are down below it. And basically what I do at this point is I just even out the distance between all of the vertices from the top edge to the edge at the bottom here. Okay, so this is called redistributing vertices. Okay, and it's a really great way of making sure that your polygons stay nice and smooth on the car. That's one of the biggest challenges for cars or automotives of any type, is that you can get surfaces that appear wavy and they don't look all that smooth. And so what I like to do is just to move vertices around as I go along and just changing their shape. Okay. Normally what I like to do at this point is I like to place my vertices along the seams of my reference image, but then I'll actually try to get my vertices to match the blue line with the white line, so they should have the same sort of shape. Okay, and they should be fairly close to one another, within reason, of course. Let me go ahead and turn on my edge constraint here. Let me pull that across. Same thing here and here. Okay, that's looking good. And then I'm going to come across the top here, and we're going to pull these straight down. Let me turn my constraints off for this. I'm going to pull this down. And these vertices are basically going to flow parallel to the ones below it. Okay, let me pull that down like this, so it kind of flows like that. And then we'll pull this straight down, and this will start to curve back up just like that. Okay, that's going to work just fine right there. I'm going to pull this up to where it starts to flow right across the top of that. And then we'll start to move these down into position here. Let me pull this over here. And as you're working on your car, it's important to just go nice and slow. There's no reason to try and make this a quick marathon or a quick sprint. Building a car like this takes precision, and it's going to go a little slower than what we might really want to go. Okay, but it's really worth it. Automotive cars are really fun to model, and they pose a lot of different challenges, and they can really help you build your skills in modeling, especially hard surface modeling. Alright, so now that we have this following along with these edges for the most part, what I want to do now is I want to come in and I want to work on the front view. So we've built all of that up, but as you can see, it's straight up and down here. So the way that I go about doing this is once we build up some edges like this, I always start out with the edge that is touching the reference image where I know it has to go. And so then from there, I'll go to my top view, and then I'll pull it straight across in just the third direction. In this case, it's going to be the X direction. And I'll pull it across until it meets my reference image. And then all I have to do is go in vertex by vertex and pull that across. So I'm going to pull it to this point, just starting one by one. And then once we have these points, then we kind of get an idea of where the next row of vertices need to go. Okay, so we just pull that across in just the X direction. If you are moving vertices in two directions in the left view, and then you go to your top view and you move it in two directions, what you've done is you've moved it from the original position in your left view. So move it in two directions here in your left view, and then one direction in your top view. If your reference image is not matching up there, or it's just not working, it means that you have either a problem with your reference image or you're not looking at the correct line of flow. Okay, so we'll be talking more about that as we go along. So then I want this edge to come right up underneath that. There, this is for the front of the door. This needs to come right across to here. And actually, let me pull this one down. Let me pull it to where this line goes right across that edge there. And we're going to leave that just the way it is there. We'll take this edge, we're going to pull that across to here. And we'll continue on. And we're just going to trace out that hood from here. You know what, and actually, let's see, I want that to flow. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull that across there. Okay, so there's that edge. It's looking pretty good. Make just a couple of quick adjustments to it. Nothing major. All right, and then at this point, once we have all of that moved over, then we need to take the next set of vertices, which is this edge right here, and we need to basically spread that out, okay, push it back across. So let's push it over on the Y, and you'll see that it starts to round out the back edge here, okay, and we can pull it to a point that looks pretty good. Hit Alt-X if you want to see that smooth, and then turn off your edge mode. And you can see that that's looking pretty good, but there's some points that we do need to continue pushing and pulling around. So in my left view, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this vertex, I'm going to pull that up, and I'm actually going to pull it up to where it's pretty much right on top of that. And the reason that I'm doing that is because if you look at your reference image, okay, you can see that there's this flat surface. There's the line for the hood, but then there's this line that actually is pretty much parallel to that, creating this flat surface right here. Okay, and that comes right into the side of the door, just like that. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and let's move those up. Okay, we don't have to bring it completely even, but just bring it straight up to where it's pretty close. And then we'll make modifications as we go along. Okay, and then this one is going to go right up into here, just like that. Make sure you hit Alt-X. Let's actually bring that back down. Sorry about that. I have this line right here for the flow of the door, but we need to make sure that we're staying right on that seam there. And then this is going to come up. And we'll bring this one up. And this one up. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a very thin edge across the top of our door. And let me pull that up there. and then right to here. Okay, and then this is going to begin the process of spreading out. Let's see, I want that to come down. It's just not following with the flow that I want there. Let's take a look really quickly at what we can do about this. We've got that door there. Let's go to our top view really quickly. Let's take this, let's pull that across to right here, and let's stay parallel with that at about the same distance. Go. That's looking good. Okay, and that's going to come right up into that. Okay, just like that. Good. Okay, so there we go. We've got that. We may take these edges right here, and I kind of want them to point down a little bit. So if we take a look at our front view, you can see now these points are matching right on that line. Very good. Okay. So there we've got that, and then these points right here, we'll bring them up a little bit further, just like this, and that'll start to create that bubbled look along that. Okay, so if we go to our back view, hitting V and K, you can see that these points right here, they're good, but they need to come in just a little bit more. Okay, until we get that surface right there. So just like that. Very nice. All right, so now we've got that set. I'm going to go ahead and actually take this edge right here, and I'm going to straighten that up. I know that we want it to match that, but I'm just going to pull it straight over in the X, so that way it's nice and straight. This is actually going to be another piece that'll come off of that. Okay, so let's hit Alt-X, turn off our vertex mode, take a look at what that looks like smoothed out. Looks good. I don't see any weird bubbles or anything like that. I've got something going on right here, but once we start to add more resolution to this and getting that to harden up, I think that'll come out of there. So we really don't have to worry about that too much. Really, if it's bothering you too much, okay, now that I've said that it's not bothering me, now it is. That's just how, I'm wired as a modeler. So now let's go ahead and pull that up right there, and that'll kind of help alleviate that stress that's right there in that area. Okay, all right, looking much better in my opinion. All right, so now that we've got this, we're going to move on to our next lesson where we're going to start working on the skirt and the scoops and just trying to really harden up those edges and really get it to that final look as we go along. So we'll get into that next.